What's up everybody? So in the last video I talked about us getting the Powermaster alternator, second time it's been rebuilt. Getting ready to install it, it's getting dark, decided just to do it outside in the driveway. I don't have time to get over to the shop. I got to get to the other shop to get the tuner to set my idle and red line and all that good stuff. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you what's involved in swapping out the alternator. I've done this like 10 times. So anyway, it can get kind of tedious, mainly with the belt. When I put this alternator on, it requires a longer belt, which we are going to check and see if it's because the pulley's different size or because if it's the housing and the bracket. I know that we will have to remove the coolant reservoir when we swap this out because there will not be enough clearance. So let's go ahead and get started before it gets too dark. So we're gonna go ahead and undo our battery with the 10mm. And I have an issue where whoever had the car before me used the incorrect type of nut on the negative, makes it a pain in the butt. So I am just going to loosen and remove the hot side. The only thing you have to be careful of when doing this is make sure that your ratchet does not touch anything metal. I'm using my snap-on with the rubber coated handle, so it'll be fine. The nut on these is kind of on like a little ramp setup, so once you turn it a few times, get that right off of there, no problem. Alright, next we are going to loosen up this clamp. This is actually a purge line for my nitrous. I'm just using a 5/16 socket. I believe this, an 8mm may fit this as well. Just gonna loosen that right up. Alright, once that's loose, go ahead and get this unplugged. It's for your mass airflow sensor. There are these rubber pop-ins that this just comes out like that. Just gonna work this back. Now my zip tie for my nitrous line is actually kind of holding this on here. I'm probably gonna have to cut that. Just slide this rubber boot back like that and remove. Let's see, next we have to do the belt tensioner. Belt tensioner is located right here. And for the belt tensioner, we're gonna use a 15mm deep well. I like the deep well just because it comes over a little bit because my nitrous lines and everything are in the way there. Alright, so we're gonna set this to where it would be in the tightening. We're gonna set it about right there so we got some good leverage. Let's get a little closer. Right about like that. And then you're gonna slip it off the pulley right down here. And there we go. If you look, the pulley underneath here doesn't have a ridge on it, so you just slide it right off of there when you loosen the tension. Okay, like I said, I have to replace the belt anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just completely remove the belt off of here. When removing the belt, the only problem I ever have is right here. You have to kind of turn the belt sideways and slip it past that. Now that we've got the belt, we've got the battery. I'm going to go ahead and unhook everything off the alternator. Look at this. And that is going to be, what is that one, a 1/2 inch? Yep, 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch socket here. Alright, make sure all that's clear. Okay, so we've got this bolt and that bolt right there. So this one and this one. And these, you can use the 15mm as well. I'm going to loosen that bottom one a little bit too. There we go. And I do prefer a deep well on this because this pulley sticks out so far that it's hard to... Okay, I got the bolts out. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to get this thing out, but just a little bit of elbow grease. Alright. Okay, so I don't have my micrometer, but you can tell, yeah, the Powermaster definitely has a little bit wider pulley than the factory size. Look at that. So that would definitely explain why at idle it's not charging the way it should, because they actually do have a larger pulley. I don't have my micrometer and it's too hard to measure that with a tape measure or anything, so but there it is. That's just shows you it's bigger. I tried to tell the guys that. Alright, so as I was stating before, you have to remove the coolant reservoir to get the new alternator in because it's larger. So anyway, 10mm. Use a deep well because it has this long bolt coming out. Alright, just break that loose, and then there's another one over here. We got Anna helping us with the camera now. Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go ahead and spin that all the way off. And what you got to do, this is slotted on this side. All right, so when you lift it out, there's a little thing underneath, so you may have to finagle with it, but once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. Let this side come out, and then lift. There's that little tab I was talking about, little post. Okay, and we're gonna have to put this somewhere over here. And it's been kind of cold, so the tube isn't quite as flexible as it would be on a summer day. But you can see the alternator will fit right down in there. Okay, so you can see this has a larger housing on it, and now we know it has a larger pulley as well. Okay, Anna gave up on being the camera person, so we're back to stationary. This one should weasel right in here. Okay, so this little brass bushing in here slides in like on the other alternator. It was a little skinnier, so this is slid in. It's too far out for this to slide in, so we're gonna have to knock that back just a little bit. Get one bolt slid in, and then we'll move this coolant reservoir back where it goes. Oh, go ahead and move this thing. You may have to do some wiggling to get it in there. All right, once you get that all snugged down, we'll go ahead and reattach the plug here. You can go ahead and put that on. We'll go and get the belt back on. For the bottom part, we're gonna have our lock washer and nut. All right, you wanna make sure not to over tighten this too much. Just snug it on down. There we go. Okay, now the fun part is getting the new belt on. It's kind of dark out here. I'm just gonna do this real quick. 3, 2. Okay, we got the belt installed, just double checking everything. All right, everything looks good. All right, I gotta tighten down the reservoir and put the battery post back on. All right, got that, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the intake back on before I do the battery. Might as well, because we gotta plug in the mass airflow sensor. And I'm gonna re-zip tie where my purge tube is for my nitrous. So, almost done. Let's go and double check this one while we're at it. Oh yeah, she good. All right, I'm gonna angle my line here. That right there. Got 2 zip ties put together for this. I went ahead and slid them on before I put the tube up there. Okay, intake's back on. Purge line is zip tied in place. My airflow sensor is plugged up. Reservoir screwed down, alternator's plugged in, belts on, tensioner's good, and battery last. All right, we got lights. All right, got that. Final check. All right, now the most important thing is to always clean up your work area. Triple check everything under the hood, because I know I'm not the only one that's ever closed a hood and a week later opened it to find like a wrench sitting somewhere. So let me clean this up real quick and we'll go back over everything. Okay, so I think I got all my tools put up, and look, I don't care how many years you've been doing this, it never hurts to double check. When I had my motorcycle shop, you know, we worked on multiple bikes every day. Even with motorcycles, I always had the mechanic go through and double check anything he touched and anything he might have put somewhere. I mean, I've seen car hoods popped with rags tied up in belts and things like that at mechanic shops from not having stuff done. So always double check. So let's do our checklist real quick. Okay, reservoir tightened in place. Alternator, everything's connected in place. Belt looks good. When we first crank it up, we'll just kind of bump it. Make sure we don't hear any squealing. All that's good on the intake. My nitro stuff's still good. All right, mass airflow sensor is plugged in. I had tools sitting up here. They are all gone now. Good, good. Make sure we didn't leave anything sitting over here. Battery's good. Everything's connected there. I don't see anything laying around. Everything looks good. Okay. All right. So now's the scary part. We're gonna crank it and hope everything's good. So hopefully no squeals or anything crazy. All right, let's see. Okay, I guess we're gonna get ready to take this thing down the road. Go let my tuner have a look at it, see about raising that idle up a little bit, and regulate the red line so we don't blow this alternator up. All right. Okay, so you can see we're close to 500 RPM idle speed, right? Like 550. And my brake lights light up. You'll see the voltage flicker a little bit there. Foot off the brake, it's fine, it goes back up. Foot on the brake, it'll drop down 13.2 sometimes. Now once the temperature gets up to a certain point, the electric fan will kick on, and that's when you'll really see a noticeable drop, especially if you've got that going and your air conditioner and it's like 90 degrees outside. That's when it really pulls a load on it. All right, what's up? So went and got everything tuned. It was actually raining, and we had to do it outside because the shop was full of cars. So anyway, we got the rev limiter dropped from 7,000 to 6,800. It was at 7 grand. Our shift points are set at 6,400. So we had a little bit more of a buffer in there than we really even needed. So we dropped 6,800, left the shift points at 6,400, raised the idle from like 550 to 650. It actually ends up sitting about 700, 750, which is cool. As you can see, even sitting at a stoplight with all my lights on, my brake lights on, the fans running and everything, we're looking good on voltage. So far so good. I did some test passes to make sure that we had enough buffer between the 6,400 mark and the 6,800 mark to where it wouldn't hit the rev limiter, and so far so good. We're on our way back to the house. We got to get ready for Cars and Coffee. Stay tuned for Cars and Coffee. What year, month is this? December. Stay tuned for Cars and Coffee December 2020. Catch you guys on the next video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified of future videos. All right, until next time.